And this is a proof that the unbelievers can sometimes be spoken to and commanded to do not the fundamentals of the religion, but the peripheries. And this is one of the positions from Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal rahimahullah. Now, close quote. There are two statements here. One is that bow down with those who bow down. Because in the prayer of the Bani Israel, or the children of Israel, the Jews, they don't have a ruku' in their prayer. They don't have ruku' the same way the Muslims do. I don't know if anyone here has ever seen Orthodox Jewish people pray, or a full Orthodox Jewish service. You can probably look it up in your library. They may even have guides on the internet about it where you can actually see what Jewish prayer looks like. But they generally do not have a ruku', which is the same type of ruku' that we have. So when they're being told bow down in the salah, it's being said to them parenthetically, become Muslim so that you can bow down in the salah with the people, because you don't have ruku'. And so this is what is being referred to in that ayah. Secondly, the speech to the Jews is a statement. It's a proof. Imam Ibn Al-Jawzi rahimahullah says that Allah will often speak to unbelievers and command them to do periphery things outside of theology. What do we mean by that? When we are talking about the faith of the believer, the faith of the believer is split into two things. The fundamentals that have to do with the faith, what you believe. Your actions will not be valid unless you have the correct belief. Then there are the actions that come after that. So the foundations are what you believe, and the branches are the actions that lead off of what you believe. Now, the scholars have split into two categories regarding this. Some scholars say Allah in His revelation has not addressed the unbelievers to do the branch activities, salah, zakah, fasting, so on and so forth, because they don't believe yet, so their deeds aren't counted. But another group says they are addressed to do the branch issues because they're being told to become Muslim. And the only way these actions that they're doing will be valid will be by becoming Muslim. And the fact that they're doing other actions similar to these is valid, that they can be commanded to do these actions. Meaning what? Meaning, you'll see unbelievers that give in charity. And they're still commanded to give in charity, but they give in charity. It's not accepted from them. They need to become Muslim so their charity can be valid. You'll find unbelievers that feed the sick, look after the hungry, care for the poor, have a burden on their heart for the weak and indigent. That's not accepted from them unless they become Muslim. So in this ayah, when Allah is telling them, bow down with those that bow down, meaning become Muslim so that you can pray and your prayer will be valid. Right? And it's a famous difference that's there. Will come up later. Imam Ibn Al-Jawzi rahimahullah, he then says, quote, so the Exalted One has said, أَتَأْمُرُونَ النَّاسَ بِالْبِرِّ وَتَنْسَوْنَ أَنفُسَكُمْ وَأَنْتُمْ تَتْلُونَ الْكِتَابَ أَفَلَا تَعْقِلُونَ وَاسْتَعِينُوا بِالصَّبْرِ وَالصَّلَاةِ وَإِنَّهَا لَكَبِيرَةٌ إِلَّا عَلَى الْخَاشِعِينَ الَّذِينَ يُظُنُّونَ أَنَّهُمْ مُلَاقُو رَبِّهِمْ وَأَنَّهُمْ إِلَيْهِ رَاجِعُونَ. And so the Exalted One has said, do you command the people with righteousness and you forget it yourselves while you are reading the book? Have you no sense? Seek help in patience and prayer. Indeed, it is a great thing indeed to commit, except for those who have faith and fear of Allah. Those who believe that they would meet their Lord and that they would return to Him. Do you command people with righteousness and you forget it yourselves while you read the book? Have you no sense? Ibn Abbas radiallahu anh says, this ayah was sent down about the Jews. There was a man who said to his near relatives from the Muslims in secret, stay firmly established upon what you are upon. It is the truth. And so this ayah is referring to this, because the man was from amongst the Jews, but said to his near relatives that were Muslims secretly to stay upon what they were upon, and that it was the truth. The statement here, the alif in the statement at the beginning of the ayah, is an alif that has to do with asking a question. And the question being asked is one using rhetorical force and not expecting an answer. The righteousness referred to, do you command people to do righteousness here, is of three types. One, it means taking hold of and holding on to their book because they were commanded to follow it, but they weren't standing by it. Secondly, that they follow Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and this has been related in two statements from Ibn Abbas. Thirdly, that they should give charity because they command that people give charity, yet they are stingy. And this has been mentioned by Az-Zujaj. And you forget yourselves, meaning that they abandon it, not that they're forgetful. And so the book that's being referred to in this topic is the Torah that they have. And this is the understanding of the vast majority, the Jumhur. There is a second position that states that it's the Qur'an. So that the statement being referred here is not to the Jews, but to someone else. Secondly, the statement of the Exalted One where he says, Surat Al-Baqarah, the second surah, 45, and seek assistance and patience in prayer. Indeed, it is a difficult thing, indeed, except on those who have fear and glory of Allah. The root word for sabr in this context means to hold something back, to contain something. The one who is called sabir contains himself from transgressing the bounds. The one who is fasting is called sa'im because he's patient by restraining and containing himself from eating and drinking and sexual intercourse. The animal called the masbura is the beast that takes its food by pecking at the ground, digging consistently because it is patient in its endeavor. Mujahid said, the patience referred to in this ayah is fasting. Now those told to be patient, there are three things that they've been enjoined to be patient about that we should remember. One is that they should discharge the compulsory obligations of the 5 daily prayers. This is said by Ibn Abbas and Muqatil. And secondly, they should leave acts of disobedience to Allah, as said by Qatada. And thirdly, they should not seek leadership and positions of rank and status. This is a statement being sent directly to the people of the book, the Jews and Christians. Seeking patience in the prayer is that they are remembering the hereafter by doing so and abstaining from chasing after the earthly life. That which is being referred to, وَإِنَّهَا, and indeed it, three things are being referred to with regard to this topic in that particular portion of the verse. One is that it is the salah being referred to. Indeed, it is the salah. And this is understood by Ibn Abbas, Al-Hasan, Mujahid, and is the position of the vast majority. Secondly, some have referred to that it is the Kaaba and the Qibla. Because whenever salah is mentioned, the Qibla is indicated implicitly. And this is mentioned by Ad-Dahaq from Ibn Abbas, and Muqatil says the same thing. one must be consistent in seeking assistance, because Allah has commanded it when He said, وَاسْتَعِينُوا, and so seek assistance. This is a proof that the assistance sought must be consistent and constant. And this is what was stated by Muhammad ibn al-Qasim al-Nahwi. لَكَبِيرَةٌ, indeed it is a great thing. What is this referring to when the Exalted One says this? Al-Hasan and Al-Dhahak say that the great thing means it is a heavy thing. It is a weighty thing. Like when someone is mentioned in the same ayah, when Allah uses the same word, كَبُرَ عَلَى الْمُشْرِكِينَ مَا تَدْعُوهُمْ إِلَيْهِ. Great indeed is that which you call the idol worshippers to follow. Surat Ash-Shura, the 42nd surah, ayah 13. This means heavy indeed, weighty indeed is that which you are calling the idol worshippers to follow. Not necessarily referring to bigness, but weightiness. Fear here, or the use of the expression al-khushu', that those who do so are khashi'een, in the language it means that they are humble, they are submissive, their hearts are attuned, and they are silent. The Exalted One says, those who believe that they would assuredly meet their Lord and that they shall return to Him. The use of the expression yadhunnun, they believe, normally dhann is used to convey suspicion or doubt. But in this context, dhann is referring to that they are certain. For further details and the use of these Arabic words in their contexts and all the meanings behind them, one can refer to the book Al-Wujuh wal-Nadha'ir, which has already been written. The Exalted One then says, يا بني إسرائيل اذكروا نعمتي التي أنعمت عليكم وأني فضلتكم على العالمين واتقوا يوما لا تجزي نفس عن نفس شيئا ولا يقبل منها شفاعة ولا يؤخذ منها عدل ولا هم ينصرون. Children of Israel, remember my favor which I favored upon you and gave you as a blessing, and that I chose you above the nations. Fear a day in which there shall be the case that no soul shall be able to reward another with anything, nor will the intercession of any soul be of any avail against another, nor will any charge be taken from one to another, and they shall not be helped. The statement, children of Israel, remember my favor which I have bestowed upon you, and that I chose you above the nations, meaning that they were chosen above the nations of their time. As is said by Ibn Abbas, Abu al-Aliya, Mujahid, Ibn Zayd, Ibn Qutaybah. And Ibn Qutaybah said about this, this is a general passage in which a specific meaning is intended. The Exalted One says further, and fear a day in which no soul shall be able to reward another, nor shall the intercession of a soul avail another, nor will any avail be taken from it, nor shall they receive any help. As Zujaj states, the Jews say that their fathers are the prophets, who shall make intercession for them on the day of resurrection. Allah has taken this hope away from them with this ayah to warn them in that regard. Thus, when the Exalted One says, and fear a day, meaning that you should fear the punishment of a day, or what is in a particular day, and that particular day is referring to the day of resurrection.